Who is the one that is confused? Confusion lived in our house like an uninvited little guest. It showed up during chores, bedtime, homework, and sometimes even in the middle of conversations. One night, I decided to confront it, not with anger, but with laughter. It was a warm evening in July, and I had been assigned bedtime duty for my daughters. Dinner was finished, the dishes were done, and the house had settled into that familiar nighttime rhythm. I looked at my girls and gave them a simple instruction. 5 minutes, I said. Brush your teeth, put on your pajamas, and get in bed. Then we'll read a story. They raced upstairs in a storm of giggles and pounding footsteps. To them, life was wonderfully uncomplicated. Eat, play, laugh loudly, and occasionally remember to listen to your parents. 5 minutes later, I climbed the stairs expecting to find two sleepy girls tucked beneath their blankets. Instead, before I even reached the door, I heard singing and giggling and dramatic Barbie voices. I opened the door to discover both of them sitting cross-legged on the floor, completely immersed in an elaborate Barbie adventure. One doll was apparently going shopping while another was preparing for a royal wedding. I leaned against the door frame and laughed quietly to myself. "What are you girls doing?" I asked. They looked up innocently. "Dad," one of them said slowly, as if I had asked the most obvious question in the world, "we're playing Barbies." I nodded thoughtfully. "And what did I ask you to do?" "You asked us to get ready for bed." I smiled wider. "I think you're confused." They blinked at me. Confused? They didn't feel confused. So I asked again, "What are you girls doing?" "Dad," they answered with growing amusement, "we're playing Barbies." "And what did I ask you to do?" "You told us to get ready for bed." "I think you're confused." At this point, they began giggling with me. The game had become more entertaining than the Barbies themselves. The cycle repeated several times. "What are you doing?" "Playing Barbies." "What did I ask you to do?" "Get ready for bed." "I think you're confused." Eventually, the laughter faded just enough for the realization to sneak in. I softened my voice and asked one final time, "What did I ask you to do?" One daughter froze mid-laugh. "You asked us to get ready for uh-oh." The other one gasped dramatically, and suddenly both girls scrambled into motion, teeth brushing, pajama drawers opening, blankets flying. A few minutes later, we were finally tucked into bed with a book in hand and the room quiet at last. Between pages, they admitted they had forgotten to play what we jokingly called the Silent Simon Says game, the game where listening carefully mattered more than simply hearing words. That night became more than a bedtime story. It became a lesson about communication, accountability, and the courage to ask questions when we are unsure. Over time, I encouraged my daughters to repeat instructions back to me so we could make sure there was understanding, not assumption. Sometimes it was exhausting. Sometimes it required compromise. Sometimes it involved frustration and tears. But we learned something important together. It is okay to be scared. It is okay to cry. It is okay to feel angry or frustrated. But it is never okay to stop trying to understand. And it is never okay to give up simply because confusion gets in the way. The moral of my story: clear communication begins with the courage to ask questions, the humility to listen carefully, and the persistence to keep trying even when misunderstandings happen.